Aloha, 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 everybody out there, and welcome to your Habitual Cosmic Review of the new moon in Pisces at 12 degrees of Pisces, happening in Hawaii on March 2nd, 2022 at 7:35 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. My name is Miloni. Welcome. I definitely got into Piscean energy for this one. So if things are a little squishy, scattered, a little obtuse, that is all by design. So happy solar return to all of my beautiful Pisces out there. Happy season. Piscean season is an ending. It's an accumulation. It's a beautiful time for releasing, for napping, for crying, for getting in tune, for dancing, for allowing your imagination and creativity to roll. So a few housekeeping items before we begin. Feel free during this time to put your location in the chat or in the comment box if you are watching this on YouTube after the fact, and get your natal chart handy. So housekeeping items. First of all, I'm going to back up a little bit and show you new merchandise. This is the Learn Failure shirt that is available right now on the Habitual Sages store at Bonfire. So it's bonfire.com/store/habitualsages, and I will make sure wherever you're listening to this at, that will be in a comment box, so that way you have quick access link to it, and obviously it's always on my link tree as well. As a reminder, I will be posting these recordings, so anytime I do a Habitual Cosmic Review of the moons or of the calendar month, those will be posted now to YouTube the day before the actual event. So the day before the moon, the day before the month, or on the day. So this in Crowdcast is truly the only way to get ahead of the energies, learn sooner, and find out kind of where the energies are taking us. So that way you can be more prepared and planful if that's how you choose to work with the energies. I have posted a how-to on my link tree, which if you've never used Crowdcast before or not sure like exactly how to use it, or what capabilities it has, I have posted a how-to that has not only step-by-step instructions, but video tutorials as well. And that is on my link tree, so that way you can figure out more about this Crowdcast life. And then all Crowdcast events are up for March, and I will be posting April shortly, so make sure to go in and register. We also have March's Habitual Cosmic Review for the calendar month of March, which will happen tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then as a reminder, I know I did state early on, but the date and time of chart for this moon is always for my location on the islands of Hawaii. So let's dig in. I took a lot of inspiration for this moon from a space of contradiction. So shapes contradicting each other, colors contradicting each other, fantasy, reality, limitless ways in which we can play with the worlds that we inhabit. And yes, worlds as a plural. Every single world that we can inhabit, that we have access to, how you can play with that energy source. I think it's only appropriate to start with a quote from the Cheshire Cat as written in Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. "I'm not crazy. My reality is just different than yours." And welcome to Pisces. That is, I love that quote because I really do feel like it hones in on Piscean energy. And, you know, Piscean energy is a female energy signature. It is mutable, so very flexible, very fluid. It's also water. So not only is it mutable that it can deal with changes, it can mold, it can bend, but so does water. So you have this beautiful energy signature in Pisces that was traditionally ruled by the planet Jupiter and is now modernly ruled by the planet Neptune. And one other planet that is really important to talk about when it comes to Pisces, especially as we get into this moon and then what we look at in the month of March, Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces, which means she's kind of like on that pedestal. She is, she does really well in Piscean energy. She has this kind of allure and a store to her, and it really does align with the energies of Pisces. So with Pisces, we enter into what I describe as the wordless land of faith and contradictions. For me, digging into Piscean energy, it's an understanding of all things versus the knowing of just one particular thing. That's Jupiter in Sag's realm, right? I know one thing. I'm looking for the answer of this particular thing. Where Piscean energy is more with Jupiter is more about, I know all things and I know how all things work together. And it aligns with like these, I kept getting, when I was writing this, I kept getting these understandings and understandings. It's like, it's the most amazing piece of classical music you've ever heard. It's the decadence when you lay your eyes on a piece of art that moves you for the first time. It's the goosebumps and the heart movement that you get when you hear somebody speak spoken word. It's really the transportation of your imagination. And if the Leo energy starts from the center, which we had talked about that in our last full moon in Leo talk, where Leonine energy starts from the center and radiates outwards, Piscean energy takes what is outwards and absorbs inwards. And that is a really key word for Pisces, is absorbing. It's the absorbing inward. If you think of the cycle of the weather, and from the evaporation of the ocean to how that science all gets configured and then comes out in rain, Piscean energy is not any one particular part of that weather process. It's not the start with the ocean evaporating, and it's not the end with it turning into rain, but instead how the process occurs as a whole. How do all the pieces come together? That's Piscean energy. We also see that in being the last sign of the zodiac. So yes, Pisces is that last sign before we hit Ostera, and that will happen in March as we get into Aries season. So it's a lot about what we've learned on the journey. We've been through a journey from Aries to Pisces. What have we learned? What have we collected? How has our process changed us? What have we absorbed through that process? How have we adapted emotionally? How have we understood and succeeded in what we were trying to present into the world and gain out of that experience? And how have we connected our experience to the whole and with others? Have we shared our stories? Have we talked through what we've went through in order to maybe support and guide others in their journey? So if you know where Pisces is at in your chart, you can look at your natal chart, find the glyph of Pisces, which you see right here in the middle of this screen, this glyph right here. And you can look at your natal chart and find out what house this pings up for you. You can feel free to put that in the chat or in comments if you're on YouTube later. And my Pisces is in the 9th house for tropical or 10th house for whole sign. I have no aspects, planets, or points in Pisces. My 9th and 10th house just sit chillaxing with no planets or points in it. I do have many family members, many longtime friends. My partner is a Pisces sun and Jupiter conjunct. So Piscean energy it's kind of that energy that is of all, and it really doesn't need to dominate because it knows it's bigger than that. It's not a loud energy like an Aries energy or a Leo energy where it needs to be in your face. In fact, when I was writing it down, I couldn't believe after I was done writing everything, I'm like, man, I really do have a lot of Pisces in my life. And that's kind of that is so Piscean, just kind of that, yep, we just float along, we just go along and do our thing. So let's take a look in the moon now. We have 3 major aspects for this moon, and I took lots of inspiration from the arts when looking into how these energies are going to be available for us to work with during this new moon. So we have the sun and the moon at 12 degrees 7 minutes, and it is conjunct Jupiter at 14 degrees 17 minutes. So a pretty tight conjunction. The quote I was guided to use for this is from C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which says, "Some journeys take us far from home. Some adventures lead us to our destiny." And there's this feeling that I keep getting, and I was debating putting an actual slide together for this with the picture and the kind of science behind whirlpools, because that's truly the energy that I picked up, was just continued to get images and affirmations and being drawn to a whirlpool. We are in the midst right now of a Piscean whirlpool. And it's not just because of this moon. It's not just because we're in Pisces season. But when you look at the astrology of March as a total, which has for most of the month Piscean ruled sun, there's also stelliums happening, which is any time that you have 3 planets in the same sign. So there's a lot of focused energy, not only in Aquarius, but in Pisces as well. And it really does feel like a whirlpool. I would highly recommend looking up YouTube videos of whirlpools. There's some really amazing, stunning examples, especially up in Norway. Norway is known for one of the largest whirlpools in the world, as well as some of the most dynamic whirlpools. And you want to look at whirlpools in an ocean. I think we can all think about like water, the whirlpool when water drains down our sink or from the bathtub. But when you look at it from an oceanic perspective, which Piscean energy is very tied to the ocean, how it looks and how it acts is very interesting, and how the science of a whirlpool comes together. And I think looking those things up can give you a really good visual understanding of the energies that are going to be working with us, not just at this new moon, but through the month of March and into April. So we have 2 months of whirlpool energies, and this is kind of the ignition of that. This new moon is the ignition of that. This new moon is that new opening, new expansion. It's that widening of the mouth of the whirlpool. It's a vortex point. And I keep getting the image of our beings going through this like white beam of light. Like you're entering a doorway, you're entering a portal, and this beautiful cosmic white light is just zapping you and just cleansing your body, and is removing all of the stagnant, completed things that you just don't need to go forward with, and then allowing you to emerge. And when we think about a whirlpool, entering into a whirlpool like a washing machine, being cleansed and cleaned totally, to come out fresh and new and rid of what is no longer necessary. There are new adventures that are awaiting, and we've got a lot of really amazing forward movement energy in March and in April, and you have to have the space in order to let those new energies come in. One other note here is that if you follow me for my tarot readings, there has been a lot of 7 of Cups energy since the full moon in Leo. like literally pulling the Seven of Cups consistently. And I feel that ties together here really, really nicely as why they're showing up so consistently in preparatory action for this new moon. The energies have really, since the Leo full moon, been asking us, what do we need to fill up? We have 7 cups here. What ones need to be filled? What ones need to be emptied? Which one needs to be cleaned? Which one needs to be, polished, whatever? What cups are needing of tending? And utilizing this time before this new moon to start tending to some of those cups. So that way we have these options and what we're moving towards and how we can bring in that new energy. We also have Mars, Venus, and Pluto, and they are conjunct. So I took inspiration from the Doors. I love the Doors. This is a quote from their song, The End. This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend, the end. And I was really called and thought it was so fitting because this is the end. Once this conjunction in Mars and Venus move out and away from Pluto, out of Capricorn into Aquarius, which will happen in March, this is the end of that heavy Capricorn energy. And this 3-month cycle of Capricorn work, do, grindstone, nose, let's go, let's get these things in line. That energy signature is going to be changing. Now it's going to morph, it's going to change. Pluto will still be working with us in Capricorn, but you don't have these large stelliums, this high concentration of energy there. And I did find out today another really interesting thing is this is the last time that Mars and Pluto will be conjunct in Capricorn together in our lifetime. This is the last hurrah. This is it for us. So by the next time that Mars comes around and meets up with Pluto, Pluto will have moved on from Capricorn and into Aquarius. So this is a really prominent endpoint. And it's like I keep getting that image of scrubbing. It's the final scrub before the reemergence and rebirth of what you've been working through during this Capricorn season. So remember, Capricorn season starts in the middle of December. And with Yule and moving that energy forward. So Pluto will remain here until March 2023, but won't fully be out of Capricorn due to its retrograde until November of 2024. So again, we still have Capricorn energy we're going to be working with. But a large part of this is going to be accumulated in March. And again, this is a larger part of a collective story. However, what this new moon and what this kind of end is your drop of that large story. Where do you fit within that larger picture? And that also ties to our Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius. So I chose Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken, and a particular part of that poem reading, 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could. Mercury and Saturn are really, during this Piscean new moon, supporting us in giving us an itinerary for our journey down this long road. Yeah, I can sit and look at wonder as what this other direction could have taken me, would have taken me, etc. But you're going down your journey, and Mercury and Saturn are laying out all the things that looks like for you. So it's kind of this energy of you have your tickets, you've paid for your trip, you've got your passport, and now you get this packet in the mail that lets you know what kind of things or an itinerary that you can expect. And it was interesting because when I was looking into this energy, I had went with my partner to Ireland many years ago to do a hill walk tour. And Hill Walk is an amazing company if you're ever looking for walking tours in Ireland or Europe. Highly recommend that you check them out. And we were going to be walking it was 3 total days of walking, and it would get us into Dublin. And that's exactly what happened. We got our tickets, we had our flight tickets, we had our passports ready, we had everything laid out about what we were going to do after we got done with the walk and what we were going to do in Dublin. But it wasn't until we got in the mail the packet from Hill Walk Tours that said, okay, day 1, you need to cover this much ground. This is how long you can expect. These are the things that you might encounter. Day 2, this is where you need to go, because we had checkpoints. We had bed and breakfasts from point A to point B, and we had to make it to the next bed and breakfast or we were going to be sleeping outside. So it was that itinerary that then kind of completed the picture. Now, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what it was going to look like. We didn't know the exacts. You won't know until you experience it. But we had a better understanding. And that, to me, is what Mercury and Saturn are doing right now. So, you have this final scrub before you're reborn. The Piscean Whirlpool cleanses us to create that space for the new. And then Mercury and Saturn come in to give us the parameters, clarity, blueprints, facts, and conceptualization of where we are going next and what we will need for that journey. So it's this beautiful moon of everything that you need to go forward with. It's like this moon of #worth it. #worth it. All of this is worth it because that journey is going to be so amazing. So now it's time to get your natal chart out if you don't have it already and start to find the house where 12 degrees of Pisces is located. And so again, this is the sign of Pisces right here. In this chart, it is over here. So this is the chart of the moon for my location. This is the sign of Pisces, and you can see the sun and the moon are conjunct at 12 degrees 7 minutes. Also conjunct that Jupiter that we talked about at 14 degrees 17 minutes. And then afar, but still again a stellium within the sign of Pisces, you have Neptune at 22 degrees 28 minutes. And whatever house that is, you can see here, this house is the first house. Whatever house that is for you, those are the themes. So the themes of the house, in this case, the first house being yourself, your self-identity. Those themes are how these new energies that are going to support you for that cleansing so you can welcome in the new. So maybe it's, for somebody that this is their birth chart and it is in the first house, that could be a theme of, kind of looking at the internal dialogue of your ego and yourself and how you show up in the world. And is that how you want to show up in the world? Maybe you need to cleanse some of those old gut reaction things like, hey, this is me and this is who I am. Oh, that was me and that was who I am. Hold on, let me change that narrative. Let me clean that out a little bit. Again, this will be 2 months of work in the Piscean realm. So this, wherever Pisces falls in your chart, and again, for those that don't use whole sign houses, that can be in multiple houses. Wherever those energies are falling, you're going to be working in this energy signature for 2 months. So make sure to watch out. Piscean, that kind of lower vibratory energy of Piscean energy tends to be overdoing it, going too hard, too fast, too long, not giving yourself time and space to rest. Naps are a whole thing during Pisces season. Very important to honor your body, listen to your body, listen to what your needs are, your mental capacities, etc. There could be a lot of flakiness. Aloofness is a really great word, and scatteredness. So it can kind of be, especially as we start to welcome Mercury into the Piscean realm, which will happen in March. And those are just some of those lower vibratory energies that you want to be aware of and just check yourself with, you know, like, hey, am I being too flaky right now on making these commitments or putting these habits or these routines into place? Am I not listening more to myself, et cetera, or whatever themes that house is really bringing up for you. Some of the other things that we had talked about is up here in the sign of Capricorn. Here is Venus, here is Mars, conjunct at 27 degrees, although not to the exact minute. And they are also conjunct Pluto at 27 degrees. Again, not the exact same minute, but the same degree point, and that is powerful. We also have the Saturn and Mercury right here. Again, same degree point, just off by a few minutes. So again, the moon and the sun are going to take a few minutes to go. Mercury and Saturn are right there on top of each other. And we just have, you know, Uranus chilling out over here waiting for his turn. He's going to get his turn. Don't worry. We got great Uranus energy coming up. But Uranus is over here in Taurus at 11 degrees, 37 minutes. So some of these things, you know, again, he's going to be having his turn here in just a little bit. But right now it really is in this focal point of these Capricorn, Aquarius, and Piscean energies for this moon. The other thing that I'd like to point out is the same thing that I actually pointed out if you've watched my January 2022 Habitual Cosmic Review for that whole calendar month of January. I had put up a natal chart of the first transit chart, of the first day, January 1, 2022, and what it looked like astrologically. And it's really interesting because this chart kind of mirrors that to a point. And what I had said about the January chart was it looked like a bowl of possibilities. All things like this MC here is called the midheaven, and then the IC is its exact opposite down here. And that kind of splits the chart in two. And then you have your ascendant and descendant, which also splits the chart. But January's also had the same thing where all planets and points were on one side of the midheaven, and there was really nothing happening over on this other side. Now, at that time, the South Node in Scorpio was not yet there, so that is something that is new in this chart, but it does have this similar signature of all of these planets being on one side of the midheaven. And here we are 3 months later, as during these 3 months, we've been working with the universe. We've been developing what is the contents of this bowl, what it contains for us, what possibilities it could bring forth. And I just thought that it was a really great synchronicity in this Piscean whirlpool that we're going through, that here again is another bowl and another way to check in, another checkpoint from the universe to say, all right, you've been cultivating whatever's been in this bowl, you've been working with it. Where are you at now? What needs to be let go of? What needs to be adjusted? What needs to be worked on? And maybe that could, quite frankly, be nothing, and that's okay too. It's just wherever you are at. And I just, you know, it's kind of this check-in. And then I tied that also back to the Seven of Cups and how we're filling up. How are we filling up our cups? And so two things that I will leave you with here as just really in general points and very clear messages that I got from Spirit is, you know, God really wants you to thrive. Whatever that is for you, if that's, you know, however you celebrate God in your life, the universe, Spirit, Olodumare, whatever that signature is for you as an individual being, it wants you to thrive, period. That is our divine right, to thrive. And everything goes from that point and either is not thriving or is not thriving or in the state of thriving. And what we, as in my personal opinion, what my role is as an individual, as an energetic being, is to find out where I'm not thriving and work to bring that back into the alignment of thriving. Because the alignment of thriving is that's me. That's where I'm at. That's my goalpost. That's what I'm going to. Doesn't mean that I am there 100% of the time, believe me. But it's where I'm always looking at, okay, what is off of this thriving point? And what can I bring back to center? And the second thing that I kept hearing is all of this is not as serious as you're making it. So if you are really stuck in your head, if you're really just in this state of, oh my gosh, like that's going to be the word. Like, we're going to use Piscean words right now. If that is that state for you, just know that all of this is not as serious as you're making it. Pisces, with the traditional ruler being Jupiter, is a lot about faith. It's about faith. It's about having faith, tapping in, getting prepared for the unseen, getting prepared for the things that are going to, you can't put a picture, an experience, a tangible hand on yet, but you know are there for you. It's all about one of my favorite mantras that I don't know if I'm ever not going to have this mantra in my life. Hold the vision, trust the process. Your vision's not wrong. That doesn't mean it might not need to be adjusted here and there, but your vision's not wrong. And you have to trust the process that you are going through and that you are co-creating with the universe on to make it a reality. So that is going to be it for the Habitual Cosmic Review. Thank you so much. And I am actually going to bring this up so that way you can grab the QR code if you need it. So thank you for joining me. Remember to follow my Crowdcast page, register for upcoming events, and then share that info out into your network. That is how you can get this energy and the understanding of all of these energies beforehand. And again, if you need a how-to on how to make all of that happen, that is available in my link tree. The QR code also is the access point to all things Habitual Sages, including the Habitual Sages store where you can get all of the merchandise. And I would love to see everybody over on Patreon. That is where I do a weekly reading with live tarot. So you get into weekly astrology, weekly energies that you can work with and ebb and flow with, along with live tarot pulling during that time to see what other messages Spirit might have, as well as a lot of other Patreon exclusive content that you can find there. And then stay connected on the socials with all things Habitual Sages and almost on every platform you're looking at Habitual Sages. So mahalo, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.